We're at the American Heart Association's 14th annual Heart of the Hamptons Ball, and I'm with Barbara Polywater, who's the regional director for the American Heart Association. And this is your event. You're responsible for bringing all of this together, and what a great event, 14th year.
Yeah.
But for our viewers, could we talk a little bit about why events like this, the Heart of the Hamptons Ball, are important for the American Heart Association?
Well, this event is hopefully going to raise about $400,000 this year, and the reason that we raise this kind of money is to fund research, but we also use our funds to promote our programs, and the programs are really what save lives, because the education is really what people need to hear about, how to prevent heart disease.
Well, heart disease, as our viewers should know, is the #1 and #3 killer.
Stroke
heart
is
disease
#3, yep.
And stroke is #3. And it's been the mission since 1920-something, right?
1924, started by 6 New York City cardiologists, and is now the world's premier heart organization, health organization.
And progress is being made every day, isn't it?
They are now doing surgery with robotics. I mean, there's going to be a lot of surgeons and cardiologists here tonight, so I'm sure that you should get to talk to some of them and you can hear some of the cutting edge things that are going on.
Thank you for that. Congratulations, sir, on your designation for your distinguished service.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be associated with the American Heart Association. As you know, it's a great organization involved in research and setting standards for good care all across the country.
Now, you're the vice chairman of the Department of Cardiothoracic Surgery at New York Presbyterian Cornell Wilde Medical
correct.
Center.
It's a mouthful.
If we could talk a little bit about the American Heart Association, and how does it, as a doctor in the field, a distinguished doctor in the field, how do you engage with the American Heart Association? How do they impact on you?
Well, basically in at least 2 different ways. They provide funds for research projects, both bench research and clinical research, that help us establish treatment protocols and you know, at a very basic level do research that leads to new medications, new treatment options, and they've been instrumental in the development of cardiac care in this country for many years. Secondly, they provide guidelines for the treatment of patients in a clinical sense that can provide standardized care across the country.
Tonight you're being honored by this wonderful organization and this great event here in the Hamptons. But heart disease is the #1 killer. Stroke is the #3 killer. In the years ahead, doctor, as an active surgeon who sees are improvements underway? Are you hopeful that in years ahead we can move those numbers from 1 to 3 down the list a little bit?
Well, I think, you know, most people are aware that that deaths from heart disease have been going down over the last 5 or 10 years. That even though it's the #1 killer in the country, all of the preventive techniques that have been used across the country are having some effect. As a surgeon, the goal of good preventive medicine is basically to put me out of business, and that gradually is happening. The number of patients that, for example, have bypass surgery now is about 1/3 of what it was 10 or 15 years ago. So certainly new medications, new treatment protocols, less invasive therapeutic techniques have had a big impact. The number of people dying from acute heart attacks has gone down dramatically in the last 5 years.
American Heart Association is special for both of you, isn't it?
Very much so, yes. I had the misfortune of losing a child in 1985, sudden death due to a arrhythmia, a heart problem. He had a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. In 1985, it's not that long ago, there was no cure for it. And thanks to the research and all the efforts and all the monies that people like the attendees at this event, the support that American Heart Association gets, they do have a cure for this condition today. Hard to treat, but nevertheless, it's treatable. So, assuming a child with the same condition as my son would be diagnosed today, this child would have the opportunity to live a perfectly normal life and probably die from something else at the age of 96. So this kind of an event is very, very important for continued research.
Both of you, we know you as someone who's been very successful in business. All of the resources that you both have available to both of you was not enough to solve this problem in 1985, but a lot of progress has occurred since 1985, hasn't it?
Tremendous, yeah. And, you know, even the name of the condition has changed. It used to be called idiopathic hypertrophic subaortic stenosis. You notice the first word of the condition, idiopathic, and idiotic simply means, now, what the hell do we do with this? The condition is called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy today. It is a cure. It's not a very common type of a condition. My son was completely asymptomatic. It happened after I took him to school. He was 15 and a half. He went the steps at a school in Manhasset 2 steps at a time. It is the kind of a condition that when you hear a basketball player at the basketball court as he's jumping to just throw a ball, drops dead. That's the same type of a condition. When there is an opportunity to give back, even if it's not monetarily, but give back in time and effort to help organize and to help even sell raffles, everybody should pitch in any possible way that it can.
So good to catch up with Alex and Simon, and this event is an important one for you, isn't it? The American Heart Association.
It is. We got involved with the Heart Association just over a year ago, right about the time that we did the Heart of the Hamptons Ball last year.
Because just a few weeks prior to that, I had quite a major heart scare. And it wasn't major to the, well, I got thrown in an ambulance and carted off to hospital because they thought I had a heart attack and scared the hell out of you, didn't we?
Yes, and that prompted him to quit smoking. And
which will be 1 year in 2 weeks.
And one of the things that we wanted to do is find a way to motivate him to continue to be smoke-free, but also do something constructive with that. So what better way than to get involved with the American Heart Association, because that keeps him honest, and it also allows us to do some work for an organization that is phenomenal. And, you know, heart disease is one of the #1 killers, and it's really important to not lose sight of the fact that people are still, unfortunately, having heart attacks and falling victim to heart disease every day.
Look, it's come a long way. My father died of a heart attack 41 years ago. Yours 25 years ago. And you know, if they were alive today, what killed them, they could have survived. I mean, stents didn't exist in those days and so on. So the research that the American Heart Association helped pioneer over the last few decades has saved thousands and thousands and literally hundreds of thousands of lives. But still, it's still a much bigger killer. And it's education they also help with, for nutrition, for not smoking and so on, to prevent the actual disease before not just curing it.
Well, thank you for lending your celebrity to this. Your show is a must-see. Ratings through the roof. Most successful season. Continued success.
Thank
you guys,
you so
you know,
much.
that should keep you active, I guess. No wonder you both look so great. You're constantly running.
That's right. We never slow down. We never sit down.
Right.
Well, we'll sit down and eat tonight.
Yes.
Dr. Max Gomez, the Master of Ceremonies for tonight.
That sounds important, doesn't it?
Part of the Hamptons event. Well, you've been bringing, in your role being on New York television all these years, you bring the information to the public, and American Heart Association, that's what the organization is all about, isn't it?
It really is. In fact, I just got back from Dallas, from the national board meetings. I chair the communications committee there for the National American Heart Association. And you know, we spent a lot of time talking about how people need to get the message. I mean, as a country, we're kind of going in the wrong direction in terms of weight, blood pressure, diabetes, blood sugar, and so forth. And if we don't do something to prevent heart disease. We've done a lot to treat heart disease once we get it. But that's kind of like locking the barn door after the horse is gone. What we want to do is prevent it, and that's really the direction that we're going in. So I'm trying to get people to understand that they need to do some things for themselves, and they don't need to do all that much, actually. I mean, you need to just move in the right direction.
As a health reporter, you've been covering this beat for a number of years and have distinguished yourself on television in the United States. You talk about the things that people need to do. For example, now that you're doing this health beat, what exactly should people be doing?
Well, the first that are the obvious things that you do with your doctor is make sure your cholesterol is controlled, your blood sugar, and your blood pressure. I mean, those are really big. But those are things that you have to do in conjunction with your doctor. In terms of what you can do for yourself, the first thing that we need to do is get moving. We have to just get up off the couch, take a walk.
Control of your own health, your own destiny.
Absolutely.
I just want to thank you. You've been a captain of industry, chairman of Interpublic, but you know firsthand what heart disease is all about.
Yes, I do. And it's, I had a sort of a minor miracle in my case. By having Dr. Krieger, while I was playing tennis, I went down and he was in the workout room. He's in very good physical shape, and he had to do me for 35 minutes on CPR. And I was dead for 4.5 minutes. So he was able to bring me back, which was a phenomenal situation. If he wasn't there, I wouldn't have been here.
Totally unexpected. Yeah. Was there family history?
Oh yes, I had a pacemaker in anyway. It's an electrical problem that took place. The worst part about it was about to win the set to win the match.
Oh. At least it wasn't similar to that longest tennis match in history.
Then I was very lucky because I needed a heart transplant, and I had B negative, which is a very rare blood type. And I went from the bottom of the list to the top of the list. When the heart came in, it was B negative, and so about 8 or 9 weeks later, when I could walk only 30 feet, I was able to get a heart, and it made a real difference, believe me.
The American Heart Association offers its information to the public, to everyone in the public, and you're an example of someone who has been at the highest level of the world of business. You've been successful, but we've had presidents of the United States and other people who've all been touched by heart disease. But you've taken your experience, and now you've developed your philanthropic work, which we honor tonight.
I know, I do a great deal of it. It's very helpful. The worst thing we have right now, and it's a shame, is that heart transplants in Columbia Presbyterian, the #1 hospital on heart transplants, they're down 30% in the first 4 months. And yet, the Gallup poll in the United States, 67% want to give donations, but only 37 actually sign that piece of paper, that license. In New York State, is 12%. It's a real big problem. And there's ways to solve it. Europe and 20 countries actually have an opt-out program, where you have to sign the licenses and say, I don't want to have a transplant or to give my organs. And it's a real problem in our country, particularly New York.
This is a big night, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is. It's Cardiothoracic Surgery. It's honoring Karl Krieger, who's vice chairman of the department. He's director of the training program at New York Hospital, or New York Presbyterian Hospital. And we have worked together for 35 years. So it's really a culmination, a celebration of all his accomplishments over the years. And it's the patients, one of whom is being honored tonight, and all the people he's trained. Many of the people who have trained under him and me are going to be here too.
Dr. Isom, what progress has been made in heart disease and heart surgery, which is your specialty, and in bringing your hospital to the highest levels? But there's a lot more progress that needs to be made, isn't there?
Yeah, a tremendous amount. But you know, the American Heart Association, obviously Long Island Heart, has made a tremendous difference. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, if you had a heart attack, you probably had about a 20% chance of surviving. Today, if you can get to the hospital within 3 hours, you've got about a 99% chance of surviving. 50 years ago, if you had a heart attack, you were in the hospital a month, and it was recommended that you retire and never do anything recreational again. Nowadays, you're in maybe 3 or 4 days. We get you back in a rehab program, exercise, and you work. One of the patients that is on TV tonight is that we operated on 10 years ago is David Letterman, who is climbing mountains, doing all sorts of things. One of the patient's brothers, who's here tonight, is Marty Zeigert. His brother, Larry King, is now almost 25 years since his surgery, and he's been on TV for 25 years, or a little older since then. So it's changed dramatically. Not all of a sudden, but we've made gradual little progress with each year, each decade, that improves the lives and the quality of the lives.
Every family has been touched by heart disease. In my case and my brother's case, my father passed away at one and only heart attack. Was in 1962, died at the age of 46, and since then we've made every effort to knowing what our genetics is all about. And we are patients at your hospital, and we know that you guys have you care from top to bottom.
Well, that's great, and I think all of medicine, and a lot of it's through the Heart Association. It's not just the objective care; it's also the patient satisfaction and the empathy of dealing with a patient. And we've found more and more that the psychological aspects of heart disease and the anxiety of dealing with it are very important too. So you really have to have a positive attitude, and I guess you guys are a good example of that.
Well, thank you, Doctor, for all the great work you do and your support of the American Heart Association.
All right, well, thank you. Good to see you.
I'm with Deborah Halpert, publisher of Hamptons Magazine, the premier magazine for Hamptons events. And this qualifies in every way, doesn't it, Deborah, as a A-class Hamptons event?
A Heart of the Hamptons is really the kickoff to the season and one of the most fabulous events of the summer. I'm proud to be involved with the Heart of the Hamptons and on the committee for this event.
Well, Hamptons Magazine is an active sponsor in a number of events, charities, and all the good work that people do coming to the Hamptons. This particular event, if we could talk a little bit about it and how important it is for you.
Well, I think the American Heart Association does so many great things with educating people on good health, on preventative work, as well as raising money for research. And I'm delighted to have this stake in the Hamptons and be able to raise money here in a way that's significant and helps so many people.
Well, the Real Housewives of New York are represented, and this handsome husband of yours.
Isn't he handsome? Boy.
Ramona
now
Singer.
You know I'm still married 18 years.
You guys have taken that show, which is a very interesting show. You're allowing cameras into your life, but you've turned it into something that is a real positive, and this event is an example of it. You're using your celebrity to help promote causes. The American Heart Association is important to you, isn't it?
Well, it is, because actually we really wanted to come because Karl Krieger is a personal friend of mine. I've known him for hours.
I play tennis with him a lot.
Yes. We've known him for 10, 15 years. He actually operated on my father.
And my mom was
his staff operated on his mom, and he helped me with my mother, who had cancer problems, to get into a hospital to help her live another year successfully with cancer.
And Dr. Karl Krieger is our honoree.
He's a god. He's godlike. He's beyond. He is down to earth.
God blessed him with gifts that are beyond.
He is warm, he is giving, he is kind, he is bright, he is generous. He is beyond fantastic.
And it all comes down to that, the surgeon who you're lucky to connect with.
Yes.
And we've got people tonight who are worth millions captains of industry, but when heart disease hits your family, no matter where you are on that economic scale, you need to find the best person to save your life, and Dr. Krieger is one of them.
Right. No, he is a top doctor, but besides a top doctor, in all sincerity, he has so many other facets to him. He's a top husband, a top father, a top friend, a top personality. I mean, he really, it's very unusual for someone to have so many great components.
He wants to be a top tennis player, I know that for sure.
Well, he's still darn good.
You
Come
guys,
on, Mario.
You guys look terrific.
Thank
the
you.
show, it's amazing. Highest ratings ever this season.
Yes, it was fabulous.
You guys are going into next season with a little bit of controversy.
Well, you got to have controversy, season. Right? Drama. It's
Are you happy that you're part of that show?
You know what? The show has really changed my life. It opened up new doors for businesses. I was always very entrepreneurial. I had my own business since I turned 30, and I developed new businesses. My HSN jewelry line. I helped my husband launch a website, True Faith Jewelry. I did skincare, True Renewal, and it's just opened up so many doors for us, right?
Sure.
And it's been fun doing it, right?
Well, Mario's always happy. I think he'd be happy doing anything with you. But this show is amazing.
It's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride. It's an amazing ride. It's surreal, I have to say. It's been amazing.
Well, it agrees with both of you. Continued success, and thank you for the work you do. We catch up with you at a number of charity events here in the Hamptons. So thanks for using your celebrity to make things happen for the betterment.
It's our pleasure.
The American Heart Association owes a debt of gratitude to its board members, and I'm with Cindy McLaughlin, who's part of the board of the American Heart Association and instrumental in putting together this event, working with Barbara and staff. The American Heart Association has been around for a lot of years, but you guys do such great work.
Well, thank you, first of all. Yeah, we work hard. We have wonderful volunteers. Being on the board for the last several years has really showed me that, the people that get involved on the committees and the community, everybody gets involved, and it's been tremendous. And that's why the events have been such a success.
And this is a lavish Hamptons event.
Absolutely. Got to go Hamptons style, the Hamptons Ball, absolutely.
At the end of this evening, there'll be a lot of money raised for the American Heart Association and its local chapter here on Long Island. A little bit about yourself. How do you come into all of this, Cindy?
Well, I was fortunate enough several years ago to be an honoree for the Go Red for Women luncheon in Long Island, and that got me very involved in the organization. We had a loss with somebody in our family, and it made me aware. It made me aware that as a woman, this is the #1 killer, and you could be as healthy as you are, and you could have certain heart risks that you have to take care of yourselves. And the more that you know and can spread that word, I think it makes a big difference. So I got involved several years ago as an honoree, and then got involved on a committee, and then I was on the board, and ever since then it's just been one thing after another, and that's been my involvement.
Go Red, that's the program of the American Heart Association geared for women, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yep. And we're celebrating our 10th year actually coming up, so for Go Red for Women.
Well, thank you for this great event and all the great work that you do for the American Heart Association.
Thank you so much.
Joined by Susan Somerville, who chair of the American Heart Association board for the past 2 years and an active member. And this is a great event. For those who've never been here, could we tell them why the American Heart Association puts on such a great party?
Sure. This is actually a battle here that we're fighting, and we're fighting a battle against heart disease and stroke. But we're doing it via a great party in the Hamptons, which we have every year. Brings together the community and many people who come and join us each year to help us raise money to make awareness of heart disease and stroke, and also to have a great evening.
We had the opportunity to interview a number of people who were directly affected by Dr. Krieger and his mastery as a surgeon, one of our honorees tonight. Heart disease affects every family, doesn't it?
It would be hard to find someone who either directly or indirectly through their family or friends haven't been touched by heart disease. I'm actually a cardiovascular nurse by training, so I've seen the wonderful improvements and changes that we've seen in the treatment and diagnosis of heart disease over the last 30 years. And that's why we're here tonight, because the dollars from the Heart Association support research, education, and awareness of the diagnosis and treatment of heart disease and stroke.
Thank you for all the good work you do, Susan.
You're
Continued
very welcome.
success. Thank you. We caught up with another board member who lends his time. Normally you're working at KPMG here on Long Island. This is Tony D'Alessio, and a board member here at the American Heart Association. Tony, you work very hard for this organization, but I know you love it.
Thank you, Ernie. You know, being a board member and being involved with the American Heart Association is a great opportunity. You know, we all know someone who really has heart disease. We know someone who's troubled, whether it's a family, a friend, a neighbor. I think giving back, getting involved is key to all of us. The American Heart Association on Long Island does so much to help those in need. I think all of us, and all those tonight, we really want to thank you for being here. And all of you out there, anything you can do, as small as it is, goes a long way. I think if you look at the American Heart Association and what they've done on Long Island, the research, the activities, the care goes a long way. And I think the American Heart Association, its activities, being a board member, has really helped me not only learn more about heart disease and the American Heart Association, but has helped me to connect and touch the lives of many people who really need help.
Tony, thank you for all you do. It's gentlemen like yourself who give of their time, their expertise, and make this an important organization. And it needs to be important because it's the #1, #3 killer, 3 being stroke. American Heart Association, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this great event.
Thanks, Ernie. Thanks for being here. And once again, get involved and give back.
I'm with Kathy Munch, Regional Vice President, American Heart Association, and there's a big party going on inside.
Good evening. Thank you for coming.
Well, you know how to throw a party, Kathy.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have a great staff. We have wonderful volunteers, wonderful board members. So it's a really great event tonight.
And it's a celebration for all of the above, staff, volunteers, board members, and your honorees. The work that the American Heart Association does nationally, but we're talking regionally here with Long Island, is to be commended.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We are really passionate about what we do here on Long Island and in our entire affiliate. We're part of an affiliate where it's the entire Northeast. So we really do strive to engage the community in the many things that we do and really educate them on the many things that we do.
This event brings out the Hamptons rich and famous.
Hamptons group, yes, it does. We hope that it does.
And we want them to open up their wallets.
And help us raise funds for heart disease and stroke, which is the #1 killer for men and women. So we're really hoping that everybody will be generous tonight and help us raise the much needed funds that we do need.
And those funds go directly towards your programs.
Yes. They go through, you know, we have great programs. We have a wonderful START program, which is to get everybody out there and start walking. Get your employees, start walking at work. We have a Go Red for Women program, which is to educate women that heart disease is the #1 killer. And that to prevent, there's great prevention that women really are not sure of, and their symptoms are much different than a man. So it's really our job to make them understand it can be different. Don't wait, go to the doctor.
And your website?
American Heart, www.americanheart.org.
Great. What a wonderful resource here on Long Island.
Thank you.
Continued success
Thank
in
you
what you're
so
doing.
much. Okay, thanks.
We caught up with Greg Michaels, publisher of Scene Magazine, Long Island Magazine.
How are you tonight?
Here at the American Heart Association event. This is a great event, isn't it?
This is actually one of my favorite events all season to come to.
You know, media comes out. Yours is a very interesting magazine, Greg. Could you talk to our viewers a little bit about Scene Magazine?
We actually just hit our 4th year this month in June, and it's a North Shore publication, and we also do the Hamptons. We cover a few different charity events, as I said earlier. This is actually one of our favorite ones to attend.
This is a great event. It does a lot of great work. So continued success, Long Island business, Scene Magazine, Greg Michaels, good catching up with you.
Look forward to seeing you during the summer.
for joining us here at WVVH-TV's coverage of the heart of the Hamptons Ball. Have a great night. This is Ernie Shimizi for WVVH-TV.